Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Saturday, March 13th, Ian Cameron and Alex B. Smith are here and ready to break down what is always a massive Saturday NHL card. And today is no different. It is a big one. Lots of games, lots of betting opportunities at our disposal. 12 games, a dozen on tap for this Saturday. Let's get right down to business here. We have a game starting at 1 p.m. Eastern in about half an hour as we're recording this show. The New York Rangers and the Boston Bruins. Boston minus 175, home favorites, total 5.5, shaded to the over here in this game. Big news for the Rangers is that Artemi Panarin, who has not played for several games, of course, he's dealing with the situation in his homeland, persecution of sorts, I guess you could say. Definitely welcome return to the lineup today for the New York Rangers, who are pretty much struggling the last few games without him. They beat New Jersey a couple of games, but obviously the lack of quality in terms of the opponent probably had something to do with that. Since that game, we've seen the Rangers lose 2 straight to Pittsburgh, and then, of course, they get shut out 4-0 by the Boston Bruins on Thursday. So Panarin, I think, is going to help this team. They're going to automatically put him back right on the top line, or on the second line, rather, with Ryan Strome and Julien Gauthier. David Quinn opting not to break up Kreider, Zibanejad, and Buchnevich on the top line, keeping them together. But still, he's going to be back in the top 6, and it's certainly going to help this Rangers offense a little bit. They have shown in the past that when Panarin's out and he comes back, they seem to play better and get a little galvanized from it. But I would only lean still to the Rangers. It's just a gut feel lean for me. Based on current form, I'm still not really ready to jump in on them. Maybe look Panarin in terms of points or a goal-scoring prop. There is one goal-scoring prop that I like in this game, and it is going to be on my card. I'm going to include it. He was scratched in his 2 games ago for the Bruins, Jake DeBrusk. And this is a guy that, was obviously underachieving, not giving the Bruins that secondary offense that he has shown in the past, and he has not really delivered this year. Well, first game after getting scratched against the Rangers, he returned to the lineup, he scored. And sometimes you see this with players. When they get scratched, it's a wake-up call. They don't like it. He said it stunk after the game the other night, that I didn't like being scratched. Nobody does. And sometimes you get, that is what snaps a player into attention when they're struggling. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Is he out here? Someone's saying in the chat he's out. Well, that's going to put that
I was just about to look at Twitter. I thought I saw something about it too. He's on the COVID protocol list, so I think he's a late scratch now, unfortunately.
Wow, late scratch. Yep, COVID protocol. Well, there goes that. So no goal scoring prop on the card today. Okay. Because that's what it was going to be. It was going to be Jake DeBrusk plus 280. He got a goal the other night. I thought if he had played today, it would have been a chance maybe to ride him just a little bit. So that's unfortunate, because I thought it was a good prop bet in this game. So that was all I had. I lean Rangers, but just a lean for me. I'm passing on this game. Alex, Bruins Rangers.
Yeah, and I don't have anything in this game either. And we'll keep an eye on that DeBrusk protocol status, because that could be a false positive. We just saw 2 of them yesterday with
Yes.
Cal Peterson and Marc-Andre Fleury, who both ended up being dressed. So obviously, with it being an early game, he's still not going to play, but he could be available next game. So keep an eye on Twitter and various outlets for that. I know Jimmy's not with us today. He mentioned that he liked the Bruins team total over in this game, but I've got nothing here. Like I said, could see a boost here with the Rangers getting Panarin back, but their offense has just been absolutely lousy. And even with him back in that lineup, okay, he's just one guy. Boston, and here's the thing too. One thing I will look at with Boston's Yaroslav Halak is starting in that, obviously, because Tuukka Rask is still dealing with injury. His numbers against the Rangers in his career are absolutely sensational. 24-8-1 with a 2.28 goals against, a 9.29 save percentage, and 5 shutouts in his career. So, he struggled with some other teams, but against the Rangers throughout his career, he's done very, very well. So if I had to play anything, it would probably be looking at Boston in regulation, but I'm just going to stay away from it altogether.
All right, we got Dallas-Columbus. This is the second afternoon game taking place. We've got the Stars minus 140 road favorites here in Columbus, which tells you all you need to know about how the Jackets are struggling right now. Total 5.5 shaded to the under, even a 5 at Pinnacle in this game. Columbus, what can you say? I mean, they look like they're finally going to get themselves in the win column against the Florida Panthers the other night. And then the roof caves in, and the Florida Panthers offense was on the prowl, so to speak, in the third period of that game. They rally back to tie it and then win it in overtime. An incredible comeback for the Florida Panthers, and just a demoralizing blown collapse and a blown lead by the Columbus Blue Jackets, resulting in a loss. Patrick Laine benched once again for a period of that game the other night, and John Tortorella being questioned about it. There's a conspiracy theory of sorts going on with people connected with the Jackets, people close to the team. Even Pierre LeBrun, who is a very well-respected hockey reporter, is basically kind of saying, and on Twitter the other day, that, is he trying to get fired, John Tortorella, with some of the things he's doing, in these games? Is he just, because you look at him too, after these losses, there's usually some Tortorella anger, hellfire and brimstone from him in a press conference after a bad loss or a bad game for his team. He looks like calm and docile and very, very, soft-spoken, not really getting all that agitated. It's almost like he's planting the seeds of, what? I don't want to say he's putting the team asunder here, but it's almost like he's wanting to get the hell out of here at this point. It's a bizarre circumstance, and the fact you got a respected guy in the NHL media world, in the NHL media realm, like Pierre LeBrun, suggesting that could be something that it's almost like he's trying to give Jarmo Kekalainen, the GM of the Jackets, a reason to dismiss him from his post. So just all kinds of stuff going on. Columbus is one of those can't touch them with a 10-foot pole teams for me right now. I just can't take them, even getting this price. On the flip side, I'm not interested to lay minus 140 with the Dallas Stars on the road, not just yet, even though they have played a little bit better hockey the last few, until they played the rematch against Chicago. The Blackhawks got them in that game. I am going to bet this game over the total, though, because you're seeing Columbus. They're finding ways to just give up goals in bunches. The goaltending of Korpisalo, no good. Even Merzlikins the other night, he had a rough third period. Their defense is leaking quite a bit. Dallas hasn't exactly been shutting down teams necessarily either. And I think their offense is starting to perk up a little bit. And wait till they get Sagan and Radulov back, and it'll even be better, that offense. But you're starting to see Dallas find the back of the net. They're getting Yoel Kiviranta. Pavelski has been good. Rupe Hintz has been good. Nick Camano and Foxa have gotten on the score sheet. And all you're dealing with here is a 5.5 with a big plus price. And even in some books, there's a 5. And I actually sought out the 5 that you can find at a couple of books here. It's over 5 minus 135 at a couple books. That's what I took here. Dallas Columbus, over 5 minus 135 in this one. Alex, what do you think here? Stars, Blue Jackets.
Yeah, I really wish these two teams were playing some other teams tonight because of, how their last games went. Like I said, Columbus, would look to see if they could bounce back after the way that they collapsed against Florida. That was a great win for me, honestly. I was on the Panthers in that game. But like you said, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Tortorella, maybe he knows that, his voice is kind of lost in that locker room, and he's just going to say, fuck it. I'm going to get paid, and, I'm out at the end of the year anyway. If they, cut me sooner, so be it. And that might be the case. And if it is, they start to continue to lose in the kind of fashion that we saw, in most of the games that they've lost now. I wouldn't be shocked, like I said, if they just go on and dismiss him, and we'll be probably fading Columbus the rest of the way if that is the case, or even if he sticks around and he's still just kind of going with this calm kind of carefree demeanor after these games, because we should have seen a vintage Tortorella press conference after the way that they lost that last game, and we didn't. So yeah, that might be something to keep an eye on. But with Dallas, I would lean ever so slightly with Dallas in regulation, because if you look at the game against Chicago, I mean, it was just pretty much bad luck on their side. They outshot the Hawks. They had way more high danger chances, and they ran to the hot goalie that is Kevin Lankinen. And then of course it was an off night for Anton Khudobin, who let in 4 goals within 8 shots. So when you have that kind of more often than not, you're not going to see a team lose 4-2. And only giving up 16 shots on goal the whole game. So I would lean with Dallas. If any team were to wake up today, it would probably be them. But I'm going to stay away from it.
All right. So just to lean in regulation with the Dallas Stars for Alex B. Smith in that one. Moving on now, the rest of the games, night games in the evening. So just make sure you're aware of that. Next up, we've got Winnipeg and Toronto. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 190 Home favorites, 6.5, the total shaded to the under. Looks like the Leafs are taking a little bit of money right now. I think it's because Laurent Brossoit announced as the starting goalie here tonight for the Winnipeg Jets, as they've opted in this rubber match between the Leafs. Paul Maurice opting to give Connor Hellebuck a little bit of a rest. Hard to blame him. He's faced a lot of shots in those first two games. Connor Hellebuck against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maybe you rest him a little bit. Give him a little bit of a break here. I think that's kind of what he's looking to do here in this third game against the Leafs. So Winnipeg going with Laurent Brossoit. I'm not bothered by that. He's been very good. 4-1 this season in 5 starts with Laurent Brossoit in net. His save percentage and his goals against are pretty solid when you look at it. 2.57, 923 save percentage. Hell, those are better numbers than Frederik Andersen for the Leafs, who, of course, is back in net tonight for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's actually got better numbers, Laurent Brossoit, believe it or not, albeit a much smaller sample size, but you have to factor that in. But still, I mean, he is a capable goalie. He's won 4 of his 5 starts, and I'm going to come back to this well that I've cashed in with like 2 or 3 times in a row with the Jets. Off a loss. How many times? Like perfect. Undefeated, the Winnipeg Jets off a loss this season. And that's the spot they're in here after the overtime loss to the Leafs on Thursday night. These 2 games have been even, maybe not on shots. I think Toronto's carried the play in both games. They probably deserved maybe to go 2-0. But the fact is, at the end of the day, Winnipeg wins the first game 4-3. The second game goes to overtime. And you can take what's been 2 tightly contested games between these 2 teams, you can take a plus 160 or a plus 170 price with the underdog in a game where I think it's going to be a close, tight game once again. Yeah, and you got the Jets off a loss where they're perfect this season. Yeah, I'm on Winnipeg here. I'm not passing up this price. They've been great off a loss. You can get them now. Even plus 170 is starting to appear here now on the Winnipeg Jets. I'll take my chance once again with Winnipeg. Cashed in with a best bet Tuesday night with Winnipeg in this price range. Probably won't be my best bet on the show today, but it will be a bet for sure. Give me Winnipeg plus 170. Alex, what about you? Jets, Leafs?
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Winnipeg as well. Like I said, this is just too high of a number for the way that these 2 teams have played one another. You've had this team, play the last 4 meetings have been decided by 1 goal. So, I get there's always going to be a lean, to public bettors going toward Toronto. But like I said, I think this is just a shade bit high of a number. Like I said, Laurent Brossoit has improved greatly. This is, arguably the best hockey he's played in the NHL. He said won 4 of his last 5 starts. So I would not be shocked here to see Winnipeg pull the upset here. So I'll take a shot with them as well, except I got plus 165. So.
All right, both of us liking the Jets here, maybe to soar through the sky and get another big underdog win against Toronto. Next game, Islanders-Devils. Islanders minus 175, road favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the under in this game. It's a pass for me. Don't really have much interest from a betting standpoint in this one. New Jersey just having a really tough time of it right now, scoring goals, finding the back of the net. They struggled definitely against the Islanders in the first meeting between these 2 teams. We'll see if that carries over here to this one tonight against the Devils. They've just had a really tough time. The Islanders finding the back of the net, the Devils, I should say, finding the back of the net. It's been difficult. No goalie projections or confirmations, I should say, just yet. A lot of the games we know who the goalies are going to be for today and tonight. Don't know that yet for this Islanders-Devils game, but I think the Islanders are probably a team I'm not in a rush to go against right now. They've really stepped up their game. They're playing that Barry Trotz defensive style hockey right now. Hard to see how the Devils are going to find offense without Hischier. You're putting a lot on Pavel Zacha, Jack Hughes, and Kyle Palmieri, that top line. After that, there's a huge drop-off. Sharon Govich comes and goes with his offensive contributions. Miles Woods tailed off. Mikhail Maltsev is still a very young guy. I like his game. I like the speed quotient that he brings to this Devils team. He's still a very young player and still not fully developed in terms of his complete offensive game just yet. So it's still going to take some time for New Jersey, I think, to get some of these depth forwards to step up. And obviously you lose one of your greater forwards and playmakers in Nico Hischier. So I think the Islanders win. I just don't have any real interest to get involved in a regulation or money line puck line bet. I definitely wouldn't be getting involved in the money line at this price, but pass for me with just a lean to the under. Alex, how about you here? Islanders, Devils.
I like this team total over 3.5. You can get it plus 125 or plus 130 right now with the Islanders. And looking at their recent form, they've been scoring goals. Granted, now 3 of the last 5 games. They scored, or 4 of the last 5 games, rather, they scored exactly 5 goals. 3 of those came against Buffalo. But they also were able to put up 5 against New Jersey in their last meeting as well. So, like I said, they're playing the defensive style, but it looks like, this is kind of the same pattern we saw with them in the bubble in the playoffs, where their defense is translating into good offensive chances as well. And they're able to get goals late, of course, too, if it's a 3-2 game. Teams pulling the empty net. So I feel we'll be able to see at least 3, 4, 5 goals in this one. So I like the over 3.5 with the Islanders.
And at a plus price, that team total on the New York Islanders. So makes it even more appealing for sure. Nashville, Tampa Bay minus 300 to as high as minus 320 as home favorites here, 5.5 the total. I'm making an exception and I'm breaking a rule that I have. Ian Cameron has a hockey rule. I don't lay a goal and a half if I'm laying a price. I'm laying the price on the puck line tonight with Tampa Bay. Minus 1.5, minus 125 is around the price you have here with the Lightning. Look, it's the Lightning off a loss to the Detroit Red Wings. You really think they're going to take Nashville for granted tonight? Obviously, that was a poor game on their part. McElhinney, it's easy to say he was in net, so that had something to do with it. The whole team stunk, to be honest with you, against Detroit. It was just one of those collective, not a great performance by any stretch of the imagination for the Lightning against one of the worst teams in the NHL. Yeah, that could be Nashville walking into a wrong place, wrong time scenario. Nashville just gets buried by Carolina in the second game against the Hurricanes in their last game. And again, do we trust Nashville to step up against quality competition? No, we don't. It's been that way all season long. Tampa off the loss, minus 1.5, minus 125. The team total as well, I think I would lean in that direction. There's a team total I like, not so much this one, but I lean to the team total just in case it's like a 4-1 type of game. Maybe they clamp down defensively after giving up 5 to Detroit. So that's why I like the puck line better than the team total for this game. So, but I wouldn't argue with the team total over for Tampa either. But for me, my bet on this game is going to be a Lightning puck line minus 1.5, minus 125. I'm not going to go on and on about the issues with Nashville. I've said it a million times. Offense, defense, special teams, terrible. Can't trust the goaltending. Just it's everything right now with Nashville, and trade rumors swirling around their top players. That's not good news for trying to maintain and instill belief in this team doing something tangible this season. What do you think, Alex? Nashville, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I lean with the full game over at 5.5. I think it's and you only would be laying $1.10, $1.15. It's a pretty cheap price here for a Lightning team. We know how good their offense is, but like you said, the defense has been a little bit suspect. They give up 6 goals against Detroit in the last game. They've given up 3 or more goals in 4 straight contests right now. So and it's one thing to play against an offensive team like Chicago, but to do that against a Detroit team that struggles to score. That could be some slight cause for concern. I think they win this game, but I wouldn't be shocked to see Nashville get at least maybe 2 on the board. So I think 5.5 is a decent enough spot where, I'm going to make it official. Over 5.5 minus $1.15 with Nashville and Tampa.
All right, like an over 5.5 minus 115 Nashville, Tampa Bay. There's no doubt defensively, there's been some cracks in the armor the last few games for Tampa Bay. Even Vasilevsky, who didn't play the last game, but played the Chicago games, played the first Detroit game, not been razor sharp or as sharp as you like early in the season. He was just a brick wall. And Vasilevsky, not quite that way the last few starts, but he's had some rest now. They gave him a game off against Detroit, the second of the 2 games against the Red Wings. I think that'll probably help him. Maybe he's going to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit fresher. Maybe the rest will do him good. I think he'll be sharper tonight, and we'll see. But your point about Tampa's defense maybe not playing as well in recent current form, definitely there's something to that. Pittsburgh, Buffalo. We've got Pittsburgh minus 220, road favorites, 5.5 the total, shaded to the over. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, that Pittsburgh-Buffalo game treated me very well. I think it did Alex as well, because I know the best bet for him the last time these teams played Thursday was Pittsburgh puck line on the show, and it got there. I wouldn't argue Pittsburgh puck line. I like Pittsburgh team total more than anything. Over 3. Are you kidding me? Over 3.5 minus 110 on the Penguins team total in this game. That is a steal, in my opinion. Buffalo's given up 4+ with regularity. Jonas, doesn't matter who the goalie is. The defense is struggling. Jonas Johansson and Carter Hutton simply aren't good enough to keep the puck out of the net. They're going back to Carter Hutton tonight. His numbers are just not very good at all this season. for the Buffalo Sabres. 3.4 goals against average, 8.83 save percentage, 1-8 in his 9 starts this season. Carter Hutton, it has been a rough go for him. I wouldn't argue the puck line. I like the team total better here, over 3.5 minus 110. And I also like the full game over. You're going to give me 5.5 right now with the Buffalo Sabre defense, which is likely to give up 4 or 5 minimum, just as they have in most recent games. I mean, the Islanders are scorching this defense, last weekend, and the Islanders aren't necessarily one of the higher scoring teams in the NHL. So 2 bets for me, totals, both of them. I'm on Pittsburgh team total, over 3.5 minus 110, Pittsburgh Buffalo over 5.5 minus 115. Alex, what do you think? Penguins, Sabres.
Yeah, clearly the books are adjusting now with Buffalo, and it shows in this total. It was at 6 even money yesterday, and that's what I played it at. I thought that was a great spot. And then I wake up this morning and I see 5.5 minus $1.15. I'm trying to figure out, what on earth would cause that move. But that's the only thing that makes sense is that they don't trust Buffalo to score, because Pittsburgh's been scoring lights out. And like I said, the Sabres have been giving up goals. They've given up 5 goals exactly in 5 straight games. So when you're looking at that, to move this, total a half a goal, I found it baffling. So I liked, the total at 6. I love the total at 5.5 here. Like I said, I would lean with Pittsburgh in regulation. You can find that at minus $1.20, and then lean with the team total as well. But my official play will be over 5.5 with the Penguins and Sabres tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Eichel's out, but he's been out for a few games now. Like, that can't explain the move to the under.
Right.
Dylan Cousins is out for the Sabres. Okay, he's been a nice player, but he's just a rookie. It's not like he's been lighting it up a ton. And I know he's not going to play tonight for the Sabres, but that can't explain the under move. For Pittsburgh, Jason Zucker was already out for a long period of time. That's not going to shouldn't move the needle. Nobody else is injured. Yeah, the goalie matchup. I mean, it's going to be Casey DeSmith for the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight, who's okay, but he's not, a brick wall back there. And of course, we know how much Hutton has struggled. A lot of it because of the play in front of him as well, which hasn't been good, but he's still not great himself either. So to me, it's a head scratcher why this has gone from 6 to 5.5. I thought it would either stay put or maybe even go up a little bit. It's gone down, but hey, it gives us a better number here. 5.5. Take advantage of it is what I say. Montreal and Calgary, we've got pretty much even money here on both sides in this game. Minus 110, total 5.5, shaded to the over. So I really loved Calgary Thursday night. I thought it was a home run spot. First game with Daryl Sutter behind the bench, and they played outstanding, tight defensive hockey, just the way I thought they'd play under Daryl Sutter. And they get the win 2-1 over the Montreal Canadiens. Albeit Montreal was in a brutal scheduling spot too. 3rd game in 4 nights on the road, back-to-back in Vancouver. Less than 24-hour turnaround from the 2nd game they played in Vancouver to the game that they played in Calgary the very next night. But Calgary is a team I made up my mind and made the decision that if I cash with them in the first game with Sutter, I'm going to just ride them, at least until they lose. And I'm going to do that. It's not going to be my best bet tonight. It's lukewarm, but I'm going to come back with Calgary once again here, a minus 110 tonight in this game. You got to be impressed with their defensive game, because actually that's part of the problem for the Flames this year and their struggles, is that their defensive game had evaporated. They're giving up too many chances. Their penalty kill has struggled. And all of that has resulted in this team giving up too many goals. And in one game with Sutter, I saw structure. I saw a clean breakout of their defensive zone. Puck movement up the ice was much more fluid. The coverage in front of the net was a lot better, a lot more physical. And that's another thing Sutter emphasizes. Hit someone, put someone on their can, put someone on their keister. Don't let someone get the rebound in front of the net. That's been the issue at times for Calgary. Too soft to play against. A little downy, Charmin soft at times, this Calgary team. They played a hard, rough, tough, physical, good defense. Good defense. Markstrom was good in net. And I think that's now the style you're going to see from Calgary moving forward. I'm actually putting an under on the card here in this game as well. 5.5 here. I don't bet many unders, but this one stands out like a sore thumb at under 5.5 minus 105. This is now going to be Calgary moving forward. Think about the defensive zone first and foremost. Capitalize on the chances when you get them, but be sound, be tough, be physical, be good in your own end. Start there on your path to victory. Already saw it in one game with Daryl Sutter, and I think we'll see it moving forward. So for me, I like Calgary minus 110 and also Montreal Calgary under 5.5 minus 105. Alex, what's your thoughts here with the Habs and Flames?
Yeah, I would take a lean with the under as well. In the last 9 meetings, we've seen the under. It's gone 1-7-1 in that stretch. And like you said, that was before when Calgary was trying to play more of an open, wide style. But now with Sutter at the helm, like you said, this is going to be a large emphasis on defense, physicality, and this is a Montreal team that's kind of the offense has dried up for them a little bit compared to what they were doing 3-4 weeks ago. So I wouldn't be shocked at all to see this one go under 5.5. The thing is, I wonder if we see a fast start in this game, might have a better option of getting a better number live. If we see a goal and scored in the first 10 minutes, then you might be able to, grab us under 6 for the full game. So that might be the way I would approach it. But it's just a lean toward the under 5.5.
All right, just a lean to the under for Alex in that one. No official bet. We move on to Chicago and Florida. The Panthers minus 160. Home favorites, total 6 across the board here in this one. The Florida Panthers, finally a little bit more respect at least. You're starting to see Florida now finally, minus 160, north of that minus 150 threshold as favorites in some games. So finally betting markets and odds makers realizing how good this team really is. I mean, it's everybody. It's Jonathan Huberdeau, it's Barkov, it's Carter Verhaeghe's been good. It's their blue line. It's Ekblad is having, wow. We got to start looking at Aaron Ekblad in this maybe Norris Trophy conversation. He is playing extremely well. He's always been a good defenseman. I honestly think he's taken his game to another level this year. His offensive production from the blue line has gone up significantly. He's a big-time offensive difference maker. He's shooting the puck a lot more, and he's having a lot of success, especially on the power play for this Florida team. Keith Yandel has, I think, played some of his best hockey in a very long time as well. And the goaltending from Sergei Bobrovsky and Chris Drieger in net, it's been solid enough to get the job done. As at times it hasn't been perfect, the goaltending, but they've definitely had their defensive game and their scoring ways be able to do enough for this Florida team. We'll see if Chicago's ready for Florida, because we know Chicago is one of those teams that we still are not sure if they're consistently ready to beat Florida, Carolina, Tampa Bay, the top 3 teams in this division. They've kind of had Chicago's number. You look at Chicago's record, Alex, against that collective of 3 teams, Florida, Carolina, Tampa Bay this season. They've had a really tough time against those 3 teams. So we'll see if Chicago can get it done. I'm not backing Florida tonight. Just a little pricey. And Chicago's still capable on their good night to beat anybody, capable on their worst night to lose and lose ugly to anybody as well. We kind of saw that with the 5-1 loss to Dallas earlier this week and that shameful effort on Patrick Kane's 1,000th career game night. So I could see this game going either way, but I have to lean it still to Florida. They are the superior team. I like the over, though, here in this game a little bit, 6. I mean, you're seeing Chicago play a bunch of these overs now. All of a sudden, either they go over the total, they score a lot, or they give up a lot. And sometimes there's games where there's both happening. Chicago scores a lot and they give up a lot. I could see that happening here. So the total is where I'm veering to in this game with the Blackhawks and Panthers over 6 minus 110. Alex, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. And like you mentioned, the Hawks have struggled against the likes of Florida and Tampa and Carolina. But you got to understand that, and I said at the beginning of the Tampa series, that the way this team looked at the beginning of the year is nothing how they look right now. The Hawks are much more improved from the last time that they were in the Sunshine State. So I think we see a better effort from the Hawks here tonight, especially Lanklinen's in net. And, we've gone back to where we were 2.5 weeks ago. If Lanklinen's in net, that's probably the only way you can bet the Hawks. If it's Subban, you're more likely going to want to stay away. But I like the over here as well with 6. I think, the way that the Hawks are playing offensively and the way that Florida, like I said, their offense is just lights out. I think they're going to, exchange goals back and forth. We're going to see good goaltending, I think, from Lincoln and Bobrovsky, but I think we're going to see better offense from both these teams. So I could see it being a back and forth spot. So it's a slight lean with the Hawks, that plus price, plus 140. And they've done very well. They've won 7 of the last 9 on the road. They find ways to win these road games, whether it's miracle of luck like it was at the Dallas game, or just outplaying and getting some better chances. So I think we're going to see it back and forth. So a lean with the Hawks, but I like the over 6 as well.
All right, lean to Chicago, but like an over 6 here, minus 110 with the Chicago-Florida game. Yeah, I mean, the Blackhawks, Alex DeBrincat really good season, kind of up and down last year for him, but he's been much better. We know Kane's the MVP of this team. And that top line with Kane, DeBrincat, and Pius Suter, really impressive. That trio this year on that top line. Kubalik stepped it up lately. Here's the guy, if you wanted a bit of a dark horse and a value goal scoring prop tonight on the Chicago side, maybe look at Matthias Janmark. This guy is all of a sudden on that third line stepped up offensively for the Blackhawks and scored in multiple games lately. You can get a really good price on him in that plus 400, 450 range. Really good price, in fact. So maybe you'd sprinkle a couple bucks on that if you're interested and so inclined. Washington, Philadelphia. We've got the Flyers minus 130, minus 120 to minus 130 home favorites. They're pretty much bouncing around in that range. The total 6 shaded to the over. I'm going to come back on Philly here. I am. I like the situation. They had a terrible game by their standards against Washington the other night. It's now 2 losses to the Capitals. I still think this is a pretty good hockey team, Philly, and I think and there was a bit of a I don't want to say closed door players meeting, but apparently the players did address the game the other night after it ended. So I think the Flyers really come out spirited tonight. They don't want to go 0-3 this week against the Capitals. I would expect them to play one of their best games. There's really no excuses. I mean, they've got a team that's got everybody back now, fully healthy pretty much, other than Michael Raffl. But other than that, everybody's healthy. They've got all the guys that were on the COVID list are back. Lawton and Konechny and Van Riemsdyk, Couturier, Giroux, Voracek, they're all there. Lindblom as well. The blue line's healthy. We need to, I think, Carter Hart and Brian Elliott, those two in particular, have to play a little bit better. That's been a little bit of a problem lately. Goaltending, I think, needs to go to another level right now with this Philadelphia Flyers team. I think Hart and Elliott, both of them, have been sort of disappointing at times. We know they're capable of better. Hopefully that's tonight. I also lean over. It's hard not to. These Flyer Capital games, they just somehow, some way, for the most part, go over the total. Of course, the last game did as well. They had a 7-4 game on a Sunday afternoon earlier in the season. So I have a smaller bet on the over, but I think I like the side of the Philly side a little bit more at minus 120. Good situation, coming out strong after, they sort of cleared the air after that last loss, saying, hey, we're still too inconsistent. Now we've lost 2 in a row to Washington, 3 in a row overall. I think you get a really strong on home ice effort here from Philly tonight. Alex, what do you think here with the Capitals and Flyers?
Yeah, I'm on Philly as well. I got them at minus $1.20. Like you said, sometimes those player-only meetings, those closed-door meetings will, get a team rallied up. And except, this is still a good hockey team. And I trust Brian Elliott, who is starting. I think he's confirmed. Yeah, I trust him more than Carter Hart right now, the way he's playing. He's 7-3 on the season. This is the reason they brought him in a couple of years ago, because they know Hart's the goalie of the future, but he's going to struggle. He's still a young guy. He still needs to, get some more work to be the true number one guy and carry the heavy workload. So bringing in a Brian Elliott, this is exactly what you want. So he can spell Hart at times when he's struggling and come through with a hot streak of his own. And that's kind of what we've seen more or less from him. So like I said, I think this is a good spot. And this is a Washington team that they've been playing great hockey as well. But I could see them maybe falling a little bit flat after already beating this team twice. So I like the Flyers minus $1.20.
All right, like in Philadelphia as well, Alex, at minus 120 against the Washington Capitals. Next game, Vegas, Golden Knights, St. Louis Blues, second of back-to-back games in consecutive nights for these two teams head-to-head. Vegas minus 110 to minus 115 road favorites. Total 5.5, 6. It's a split line with the total. Some 5.5s out there, some 6s. So make sure you shop around. If you like the under, find a 6. If you like the over, find a 5.5. That's exactly what our old friend at Teddy Covers would say. He's always a stickler when it comes to that kind of stuff. But definitely when you look at these two teams, obviously we're both happy with what we saw last night. We both liked over the total. It was Alex's best bet on yesterday's show. It got there with relative ease, plenty of room to spare. Ends up a wild 5-4 victory in overtime in favor of the Vegas Golden Knights. I kind of had that sneaking suspicion that Vegas would find a way to bounce back after the 2 losses against Minnesota. That's why I kind of steered clear. Of course, the goaltending situation was up in the air all day, thinking at first Logan Thompson was going to be in, but Marc-Andre Fleury, as Alex said earlier in the show, that false positive allowed him to open the door for him to start last night. So what do you do tonight now? if you're Vegas in this game with your goaltending situation. Do you dare turn to Logan Thompson? Nothing confirmed yet, but he's projected to be the goalie tonight in a lot of different places. Now, again, no confirmation. Maybe they do ride Fleury back-to-back here, but we'll have to wait and see on that. It was Jordan Binnington last night, another losing effort from him. He's kind of struggled. Not like Ville Husso's been any better, and we might see Ville Husso tonight, the backup goalie for the Blues. 3.48 goals against average, an .884 save percentage. Those are the numbers this season for Ville Husso of the St. Louis Blues. So he's had a tough time. I'm inclined to go right back to the well over 5.5 here because I think there's a chance it's a Thompson-Husso matchup. And even if it's a Fleury-Husso matchup, I think we could see goals here because, again, I talked about it with St. Louis. This defense without Carl Gunnarsson and Colton Parayko, it's having a tough time defending in their own zone. It's having a tough time keeping the puck out of their own net. These two guys have to come back. Parayko at least has a chance to come back soon. Gunnarsson ain't coming back. He's out for the season. But again, you go all the way back to when he got hurt, and that's when the St. Louis defense started to come unglued a little bit, and it's really carried over. And again, another game where they give up 5 goals last night to Vegas. So for me, it's over 5.5 here. There's still some minus 135s out there on the 5.5 to the over. 6 is elsewhere. Find a 5.5 if you can, but that's what I like here in this game. Go back to the well with what worked for me and what worked for us so well last night. Alex, what do you think here with Vegas and St. Louis?
Yeah, it was pretty awkward yesterday with that Vegas goalie news because I did a radio spot in Chicago that was taped in the afternoon, and I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be Logan Thompson, and I talked about him, and then all of a sudden it's about 5:30, and I'm seeing the news that it's a false positive and Fleury's back, and he was already in St. Louis quarantining in the hotel. So once the false positive was confirmed, and he was able to go back to the team, he starts. But like I said, it didn't matter. Their offense was able to kind of wake up after being down 2-0. And like I said, but their defense cannot keep them in these kind of track meet kind of games. So I would look the same way, especially if it is, like you said, Thompson and Husso, both backups, even at a 6 price, a 6 number at a lower price. I would look with that. So give me the over. I'll go 6 because that's I'm seeing more 6s now, minus $1.15.
All right, both of us liking the over in some fashion here for sure with Vegas, St. Louis. Edmonton, Vancouver, we've got the Oilers, minus 130. Road favorites, total 6.5, shaded to the under. I'll tell you what, if you're the Ottawa Senators, you're happy as hell you're not playing Edmonton in your next game. That is for sure. It's been a terrible time of it for the Senators against the Oilers. But the Oilers do what we thought they would do and take care of business against Ottawa. And they really ended up just dismantling the Senators in the back-to-back games this week. Now they're playing a Vancouver team, though, that's been a team that's kind of perked up of late. Their defense has been better. Thatcher Demko has been really good in net. They had won, I believe, 4 in a row, but had that streak snapped with a loss to Montreal. They won the first game against Montreal. They lost the second game against the Canadiens earlier this week. I'm kind of leaning Vancouver here. It is the second night of back-to-back games for Edmonton. Mike Smith was in net last night. We could see Mikko Koskinen here tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's got 3.3 goals against, 8.99 save percentage. That's nothing great. There's a huge rest advantage here for Vancouver. They've been sitting here in Vancouver waiting for the Oilers now for a few days. If Koskinen's the confirmed goalie, I'm going to make a case for the Canucks here as a home underdog in this game. Alex, what's your take here on Oilers Canucks?
Yeah, it would be a lean with Vancouver, like I said, based on if it's Koskinen. Like I said, they've had the days off, but this is an Edmonton team that has really been rolling now offensively, won 4 games in a row, and it took care of Vancouver in the last 2 games that they met. So I wouldn't be shocked to see this one kind of go back and forth. The total scares me a little bit at 6.5, even if it is Koskinen. That's a bit high, especially if Vancouver Dolphins. Like I said, they've been a bit inconsistent at times. So this is one I'll probably watch and maybe do something in game with, but I got nothing for it as of now.
All right, pass for Alex with this one between Edmonton and Vancouver. And the final game on this Saturday card filled with 12 NHL games. Lots to choose from, lots to talk about. We wrap it up with not necessarily the most glamorous game on this card. San Jose and Anaheim. We've got the Sharks minus 120 Road favorites, 5.5, shaded to the over the total. Thank you to the Sharks for doing all the work for me with that over 5.5 yesterday in the game between San Jose and Anaheim. It got there thanks all to the Sharks, who shut out the Anaheim Ducks 6-0 in that game. We'll see if Anaheim's got a better effort and a better bounce back performance tonight in them as they get ready to take on the Sharks one more time. It was obviously a rough night last night for the Anaheim Ducks. And look, we got to sometimes give ourselves a little bit of credit, at least when we say theories and just opinions that make sense. And we both said it on the show yesterday, Alex and I. Gibson's getting worn out. Gibson's getting worn down, worn into the ground. He's now starting to falter and give up goals that sometimes he normally doesn't when he's on top of his game. And the Anaheim defense is really starting to crumble a little bit in recent games. This team has given up goals. You're giving up 5 goals to LA. You're giving up 6 goals to San Jose. I mean, you've got some issues right now if you're the Anaheim Ducks defensively right now. And again, this is a team that's given up goals. Gibson started last night. You would think maybe Miller tonight. Gibson got pulled last night. So Dallas Eakins has a tough decision. Does he go back to Gibson tonight after getting pulled last night and hope he's better? Or I think you got to give him a rest at this point. He's played a lot. I think you have to go to Ryan Miller. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but we'll wait and see on that. I'm going to stick with the over again here. It's 5.5. I think Anaheim will do better offensively tonight against the Sharks. It was Dubnyk last night. I'll tell you what, not many times you would expect Devin Dubnyk to notch the shutout, but he did that last night against Anaheim. I think Anaheim will find some offense tonight. They're at least capable of a few goals, and they should against San. And you trust San Jose's defense, which has struggled all year, to play that well again and shut out a team? I don't. So no. I'm going right back, kind of like Vegas St. Louis. The over worked for me there last night. I think it can work for me tonight. Same with San Jose Anaheim. The over worked out last night. I think I'll take my chance that it can work out again tonight successfully in terms of profit. So for me, San Jose Anaheim over 5.5 minus 125 one more time. Alex, what do you think here? Sharks Ducks.
Yeah, I'm looking the same direction. Like you said, it wasn't San Jose's defense. I mean, Dubnyk played well. I'll give him that. But that defense wasn't the reason why Anaheim was completely held off the score sheet. It was mostly Anaheim's inept offense. We've seen them, just more than often than not, they struggled to score goals. And, even when we talked about with Trevor Zegras, when he was in the lineup, kind of opening things up for everybody, but then he had been scratched for a couple of games. So it just is a whirlwind of issues right now for Anaheim. And the biggest thing is, like you said, Gibson, he looks worn out. He needs the rest. And, I can't imagine they would turn right back to him after pulling him from last night. You would think it would be Ryan Miller to get this game. And the fact that he played a little, most last night and have to turn right back around, older goaltender, you wonder if he's going to be at his sharpest as well. So 5.5 is a solid number and a good price, minus $1.25.
Right, both. All right, Alex and I both on the same page there with San Jose Anaheim over 5.5 at minus 125 in that one tonight, the nightcap. Actually, there's 2 nightcaps. Edmonton, Vancouver is also starting at the latest start time of the day, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. All right, that's 12 games that we've talked about them and analyzed them and given you our analysis and our betting opinions on each and every game on this Saturday NHL card. Great stuff with Alex B. Smith. Before we get to best bets, reminder, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code THPN when you sign up for your account. You'll get a deposit bonus. You'll get weekly specials, bet boosts, incentives, all of that. Use the DraftKings Sportsbook app. DraftKings is blowing up right now, obviously doing great things. A lot of great betting options as well in multiple sports. Very good selection as well with the DraftKings Sportsbook if you have an account there. So make sure you download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up for an account using the promo code THPN. All right, best bet time for this Friday, for this Saturday, I should say, NHL card coming off a 2-0 sweep with best bets for Alex and I on Friday. See what we can do for an encore here. Lots to choose from on this 12-game Saturday NHL card. Alex, what did you land on for best bet today?
Going with Pittsburgh and Buffalo, going with the over 5.5 minus $1.15. Like I said, I like this play at 6, and so to get a better price and number, definitely going to be rolling with this. This is a Buffalo team that, I guess, you can worry about, where's their offense going to come from, but we know the defense will not be there. And this is a Pittsburgh team that's been lighting the lamp left and right. So I expect them to do most of the work. They'll probably end up maybe even giving up a goal or two because, like I said, you can't really trust Casey DeSmith to put out just a big, performance. Even though he's been the better goaltender, and even Jari, you can't even say that. Jari has won 8 of his last 10 starts, so maybe we probably should ease up a little bit on Pittsburgh's goaltending, but they're still not one of the best duos in the league. So that being said, Penguins Sabres over 5.5 is my best bet.
All right, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, over 5.5, minus 115 for best bet for Alex. And yeah, we're both a little perplexed. The number went from 6 to 5.5 when it comes to the total in that game tonight. All right, my best bet, I'm going to go to, let's see here. It's a good one. It's a tough one. There's a lot I like. I'm going to go with Tampa Bay puck line, minus 1.5, minus 125. I like that one. I mean, I trust Tampa Bay after losing to the Detroit Red Wings. There's nothing that should get a team, refocused, back on the beam, ready to play their best game than losing to the Detroit Red Wings. I think Tampa Bay brings it tonight. And again, we're going to talk about Nashville being able to win games against good competition. No way, Jose, with the Nashville Predators. They've already lost to Carolina twice this week, including getting blown out by them in their last game. I think they're walking into a tough spot here against what should be an angry, motivated, focused, and certainly much. I could say much for the next 10 hours and stretch this show that long. Much superior Tampa Bay Lightning team. So let's go with the Tampa Bay Lightning here. Puck line, minus 1.5, minus 125. That is my best bet for this Saturday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Great live viewership. For those of you listening on the podcast version of this show, you can tune in to watch us live on YouTube daily, 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. And again, if you can't watch the show live on YouTube, download the audio podcast version of the Ice Guys Hockey Betting Show on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Sunday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.